comes to actually writing predictions like I have for tonight's show, that's something I haven't done before, because these things come to me sporadically and randomly, and I have, again, no control over these visions. And sometimes I wonder, why do I even get them? Because there's nothing I can do about it. You know, yeah, I see planes crashing into the towers. Call the government. They're not going to believe me. So there's not a whole lot I can do about it. But what I am doing is tapping into this source of energy. This is a source where all information is stored, and everybody can pretty much tap into that source through psychic meditation and prayer and dedication, and of course having your own intuitive abilities open and really wide open. So I'm able to tap into that source, as many other people are. So sometimes you'll see psychics that have similar predictions out there because, of course, we're tapping into the same source. So, of course, we're going to have some of the same things. Now, for someone to have word-for-word predictions, some copying or something going on there, which happened to me in the past, too. That's why I do them live on the radio. Therefore, when I read them live, nobody can alter or change them in any way whatsoever. And that way, they're on the record, because people have already accused me, like, you know, the skeptics or more like the cynical people, of changing my predictions. Well, no, I didn't, because you can listen to them live on the radio. And I add to them, too, as time goes on. If I get a vision or something, I will put it in my blog. So be sure to visit my blog. Access that through josephtittel.com, because that's where you're going to find these predictions in a few more days. First, they're going to go out in my newsletter, and then they'll go up on my website, on my blog. But I don't post them until they're read live. That way, they're, again, not changed or altered. So anyway, WBCB Radio, the big kahuna, actually, who is the radio manager there of mine, and my partner and assistant, Bob, came up with an idea that I should come up with a list of predictions for the new year. So I thought about it. I thought it was a great idea. But at the same time, I thought, oh, how am I going to do that? I've never done that before. So that's when I decided, okay, I'll give it a whirl and see what happens. So I went into this, I think the first year I did it, several hours of deep meditation and prayer, and began seeing all kinds of events. And I tried to focus on future events to see what would happen. And to my surprise, I came up with a lot of information. And how I saw a lot of this information, and so that you understand when I'm reading these to you, a lot of them I see simply in the form of headlines, news headlines, and that's all I get. And you'll see a couple of them, I'll tell you that that's all I saw was that headline and nothing more than that. Like a couple years ago, I kept getting legend dies, legend dies. And, you know, I'm a little dyslexic and I'm really bad at grammar and spelling, as some of my blog readers know. And right shortly after that prediction was put out there, Heath Ledger died. And all of the headlines kept reading Ledger dies. So that was kind of interesting, I thought. And over the past few years, you know, you can go on and check out my past predictions. So many things have come to pass. The prediction on MTV Live of Michael Jackson, losing Michael Jackson this year, had come to pass. The crash of Air France into the ocean, the crash of the plane in New York on the river, just so much has come to pass. And, you know, I'd rather not see a lot of these things come to pass, to be honest with you. But, you know, what can you do? When you're tapping into future events and news headlines, you're not going to get positive. Unfortunately, you're going to get negative. There's some positive, but in most cases, you're not going to see the news headlines as being something great and wonderful to talk about. It's always going to be something unfortunate or disastrous or something like that. So you understand when you read these predictions. Another thing I noticed with my predictions, since this is the third year doing it, is sometimes they happen a little bit more than a year. I try to base it all on the coming year, but some of them end up happening like January or February of the following year. And something I was told in my meditation this year is that some of the big predictions that I have here are predictions that are going to happen between now and 2012. Just a few of the big ones. So some of the things that we can expect. So, excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold here that I've been nursing for the past week. So bear with me if you hear me sniffling and coughing and clearing my throat. So, so that's basically how it works. That's how I got started doing this and started writing it. And really, a lot of psychics won't do this. A lot of good big-name psychics, James Van Prague, you know, John Holland. I don't think Lisa Williams does it either. They don't do it because simply they don't want to put themselves out on the line like that, because people follow this, especially people in the media. And I just read an article about myself, 3 different articles that were just put out in big newspapers over the past week about everything I got wrong. They didn't make one mention of the things that I got right. And I got more, I would say right, I'm sure, than I did wrong. And why do they not mention that? Why do they seem to ignore the big specific things that come true, not just me, but other psychics too, that they put out very specific messages that are future predictions that come true, and then these newspaper and media people only tell you about the things we get wrong. I think that's kind of wrong. And that goes to show that the media writes what they want to write. So you can't always believe what you read or what you hear, unless you go direct to the source. And I'll tell you, just, you go read them yourself and you can figure it out yourself. And that goes for any other psychic that does predictions, too. You go look at their site and you can figure it out for yourself. Excuse me. So, anyway, I want to tell you that 2009 was a transitional year, a time for getting rid of the old and bringing in the new. Last year was a year of basically death, not necessarily just death of people, but the death of things in your life, putting things to rest, relationships, careers, residential places. It was a big year of that. Now, this year is more of a positive year because this year is a year of renewal, a year of birth. The opposite of last year. Yeah, last year's death, this year's birth. This is a good year for us for opportunity, a good year to start new relationships, start new careers, start new jobs, anything new. This is the year to do it. And you want to jump on it because this is like the only year to do this that'll be open with the world for a while. We go through our personal transition and world transitions. This world transition and this opportunity is not going to come up for you for another 10 years. So you want to jump on it. You want to open up your mind and jump on opportunities and not be afraid of taking a chance this year. Also, it's going to be a big reminder for all of us about our health. It's going to be a big health scare year, and you're going to see a lot of it with a lot of celebrities and people, heart attacks, cancer, you name it. It's going to be a big year of scares with health. This is going to be Spirit's way of reminding us to take care of ourselves and to take better care of ourselves, to learn to exercise, meditate, and watch what we put in our food, what food we put in our mouths, because we're eating too many processed foods that are really causing these cancers and diseases. So this is going to be a year where you're going to really need to focus on what you're eating and what you're doing with your body and your health. It's a year of resting and a year of taking care of yourself. Or if you do not, you're going to get warned. And Spirit, you don't want Spirit to warn you, because a warning could be a massive heart attack and you're in the hospital laid up for a week or two. You don't want that to happen. You're going to see a lot of that. But anyway, let me move down and let me start talking to you about 2010 predictions for the weather. But let me just jump real quick back into the chat to see if I can get it to open again. If you're just joining me, my name is Joseph Tittel, spiritual medium and author of Messages from the Other Side and radio personality. And friends and others call me Spirit Man. I got that name many years ago just because of this ability. So I'm trying the chat room again. If you're just joining me, again, we're here each and every Tuesday evening from 8 to 9:30 p.m. Tonight we're here till 10 p.m. So the chat's still not working. Sorry, folks. So let me go on with my predictions. If you're trying to call the phones right now, please hang up and try back again later, because I'm not taking phone calls for a while. And when I do take phone calls, I disconnect everybody from the lines and start fresh and new. So you may not want to be sitting there online. Unless you want to listen, you can call and listen to the show. So weather 2010. It's going to be a very, very bad year for weather patterns this year. You're going to see a lot of it. We will see more destructive storms, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions in 2010 than we have in a long time. 2010 will be the year of the earthquake, and quakes will rattle areas that have never experienced a quake before. Places like, if that simply have never had earthquakes are going to experience earthquakes. Last year, I forget, I had one year was the year of the hurricane. The year before, I think it was last year or the year before, was the year of the tornado, which came out on 60 Minutes, as they called it, the year of the tornado. But this year is going to be the year of the earthquake, and big, big, big storms. Okay, second one, moving down. 3 major earthquakes within the United States, one north in the area of possibly Vermont, Connecticut, or Maine, or Massachusetts. The very north tip of the United States. and also along the borders of Canada. One within the United States and Canada could also reach at least 5.5 to 6.0 in magnitude.